We are all ready to day 5 of San Francisco 49ers training camp, and today was the first day of pads, and boy, they did not disappoint. Papa Purdy out here balling, making some amazing plays, but it wasn't just the offense, the defense was making plays as well, and we got our first true look at this retooled defensive line. Mykel Williams, CJ West, Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff, Sam Okiwanu, Evan Anderson. We have a really detailed kind of report on what we're going to see from the D-line. And honestly, one of the biggest standouts on defense, D. Winters, today with the pads coming on. We got one-on-ones, O-line versus D-line. We got team period. All kinds of stuff going on. And today was, I would say, the definition of an iron sharpens iron type practice. So we're going to break down everything that I saw today, and I saw a lot of good today, and we're going to talk about it all right now. But you guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat, smash that like button, and let's talk about it all right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, man. Today was fun. Today was by far the best day of 49ers training camp. The day that had currently held that title was day 2, prior to day 5. But obviously, pads came on, and there was a lot to take away from today, including something like this. Callie says, Brad, it's safe to say that you're warming up to the Mykel Williams pick. Oh, I'm more than warm, baby. We're going to be spitting some hot fire on what Mykel Williams did today. I'm so excited about not only the type of player Mykel Williams is, but how they're going to use him. Brock was reported going 7 of 15. I couldn't tell you. I don't keep training camp stats. Training camp stats are the most meaningless thing in existence, especially when there's no context provided. So I can't tell you what Brock Purdy went. I've now covered training camp 5 years. Not one day have I logged training camp stats. So I won't tell you from that perspective. I will just tell you the plays that were made, and that's how we go. That's how we do it. So we're going to get right into it. I'm not going to hop right in to Brock Purdy just yet because I want to talk about some other things. Let's start with the one-on-one session that we had today. The very first rep was, it was good on good. It was Nick Bosa versus Trent Williams. Trent Williams got the win on that one, and I thought that was pretty solid from Trent Williams' perspective. Huff also, both Huff and Sam Okiwanu, solid. I think Sam Okiwanu has had a great camp so far, and he continues to rise. And when you look at him and Bryce Huff together, they're very similar players. When we had Bryce Huff on the channel, he mentioned Sam O and saying, like, this guy's solid. Like, this guy has some good stuff, and they're both winning the same way. They're both showing outside speed, counter inside moves, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing from both Sam O and Huff. CJ West, I was not expecting CJ West to be the most dominant player in one-on-ones today. but he won pretty much every single rep today. The best rep that he had was against Dominic Puni. Puni and him, they kind of, it's big on big. They kind of lock up, and then you had CJ West hit him with like this rip swim move, got right past him. CJ West, one-on-one is pretty darn solid. He was winning with push pulls. He was winning with rips and swims. You can tell that offensive linemen are so focused on stopping his big frame that he then is using it against the offensive lineman. CJ West looked almost unblockable in one-on-ones today. Probably the most surprising win of one-on-ones today was Colton McKivitz versus Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa was trying to work to the outside, and Colton McKivitz just locked up Nick. And, to be honest, I'm not sure I've seen that too many times. I've watched a lot of reps between Nick Bosa and Colton McKivitz over the years, and that is not typically the outcome. And it's pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was surprised by Colton on that one, but we also got a little bit of a look at Michael Williams in one-on-ones. One of my favorite reps. It wasn't like a clean win, but it was a showcase of what Michael is. He went straight speed to power, and it is intense how low and flat Michael Williams can get when he goes speed to power, and his long arms, like Michael is going to be a problem for other teams. He's going to be a problem. I really think so. And again, I wanted to talk about how they're using Michael, but I'm going to wait till we get to the team portion of that. We're currently in the one-on-one portion right now. But his bull rush looks crazy. Evan Anderson has looked solid as well. Evan Anderson pancaked Connor Colby, the 49ers rookie, 7th-round draft pick. But to Colby's credit, I gave Colby the only win against West. So CJ West had really beat everyone. And then after Evan Anderson pancaked Colby came back and he locked up CJ West. So I was pretty impressed by that. So good rebound by Colby on that one. But honestly, star of the show for one-on-ones was CJ West. Alfred Collins, you could tell looked strong. Had a win as well. Collins had a really nice bull rush against Drake Nugent and just absolutely walked him back. But again, D-line's looking solid. I would probably have to give the overall W to the D-line group on the day. I thought the D-line group was solid today, so that was good. But let's get into teams. So before I get into Brock, I want to stay on Michael. So they had 2 very long extended team periods today. A lot of reps, a lot of plays, and I was pretty impressed by Michael in these situations. At the very first play of both team period, Michael got the tackle. There were run plays, and Michael, first one was a tackle on CMC, and in the second team period, it was a tackle on CMC. So Michael, again, it just first impressions matter, right? And the first impression of Michael Williams is this guy. This guy might be a dominant player for the San Francisco 49ers. And what I wanted to tell you about of how they are using Michael, and like literally I'm getting giddy watching it play out. You have Nick Bosa in the wide 9. You have Michael Williams standing up in a 2-point stance over the guard. Then you have Kevin Givens on the inside shade of the guard. So you have a stack. It's stacked on one side, and then you have a looping concept, a stunt where Bosa crashes in, and then Michael drops like he's going into coverage, takes two coverage steps, and then loops around and rushes. And I'm like, and when Michael creates contact, it is violent. Like against Kittle, against Trent Williams, he packs a punch, and it's exciting. It's clearly exciting. You know, I've been wanting to see some creativity on the 49ers defensive line group for a while, and seeing something like that gets me really excited. And, you know, Nick Bosa was getting around the quarterback quite a bit today, but it wasn't necessarily on the edges. He was squeaking through up the middle on stunts and all different types of things. So whatever the 49ers are cooking up with this defensive line, you know, I know there's some hesitation, myself included, to really buy in, just because there are so many rookies, there's so many unknowns, but Michael looks like the real deal. Alfred Collins looks like the real deal. CJ West has a ton of upside. Kevin Givens is solid. I've always liked Kevin Givens. I mean, Huff and Okuwana. I mean, the defensive line really does look like there is some real potential here, even with a young group. So I was very pleased by it. I mean, I didn't see much. The biggest plays of the day didn't come on the ground. I'll tell you that. They were through the air for the offense. So I think that speaks highly to the defense today, the front seven. Huff had a tackle for a loss on the day. I think Huff is going to be a really good piece for this defense. So from a defensive line front perspective, Evan Anderson had a sack today early on in team period. So I think it's promising. I think for the first day of pads, not bad. I'm going to kind of work my way through the defense. So we started kind of with the defensive line. Now let's talk about the linebackers, because I know a lot of you, we'll get to DBs after linebackers. I know a lot of you have been asking about how have the DBs looked, or excuse me, how have the linebackers looked, and I think we have a clear winner of who the starting linebacker is, at least through the first 5 days of training camp. D. Winters was maniacally menacing today. Again, Shea, it's so hard not to compare to Dre Greenlaw, just because we've seen Dre Greenlaw for so long. He's like the standard at the LB2 position next to Fred. So it's really easy to draw those comparisons. And it really felt like at times I'm watching Dre Greenlaw out there, but it's number 53, D. Winters. D was flying today. He was all over the place. He would have had multiple run stops. He had one play where he absolutely decleated Isaac Guerrero just because he was moving so fast down the line of scrimmage that when Isaac cut upfield, because we know Isaac is a one-cut type runner, well, he'll push to the outside, stick one foot in the ground, and get north-south. that right when Guerrero got north-south, D. Winters was there, and he just lowered his shoulder, and it was an audible thud. And it was really reminiscent of a play that Dre Greenlaw made as a rookie in training camp, where he knocked Kyle Juszczyk out on a play, on like a dump off. But D was everywhere. D was everywhere today, and D had a tackle for a loss, and I had the binoculars, so I could see up close. And immediately right there to greet D was Robert Saleh, and Robert Saleh was pleased by that and dapped up D. So I thought today D. Winters absolutely solidified himself as the LB2. You know, I think it was kind of up for grabs up until this point, but I think D absolutely snatched that. Like, that's a D spot. From today forward, that's D's spot. D is LB2, and if he's not, I would be upset by that, because that's the kind of day D. Winters had. Stops on CMC. D had an interception today. The interception was honestly just a better play by the defense. It was a pass over the middle from Brock Purdy intended for George Kittle. The ball placement wasn't bad. It was just a better defensive play by Jason Pinnock. Pinnock put his arm right in between George Kittle's hands. It looked like the ball hit Pinnock's elbow, and it popped up, and D. Winters snagged it out of the air. So, you know, yes, Brock Purdy had an interception today, but to me, it was just a better play by the defense to get a PBU and turned it into an interception because it popped up into the air. So I thought that was a really good play by Pinnock, and heads-up play by Dean Winters to snag the ball out of the air once it had popped up. But yeah, in my notes all over the place, D. Winters flying, D. Winters stop, D. Winters this, D. Winters that. So D was all over the field today. I thought D was one of the best players on the field for the San Francisco 49ers. I know a lot of people ask about Nick Martin. Nick Martin had a nice run stop against Jordan James. Met him in the hole. Other than that, I didn't really see a ton from Nick Martin. Again, that's not to say that Nick Martin isn't doing what he's supposed to do, but sometimes your eyes just gravitate towards the play being made. And today, it was a lot of D. Winters making plays for the linebackers. I noticed Fred didn't play a ton today, so that I wonder if that was more just precautionary than anything else. So, but overall, D stole the show for the linebackers. Let's talk about the defensive backs. And again, if you're just joining, I haven't got to Brock's play yet. We're saving the recap for Brock at the end. And so for me today, the defensive back who really stood out was Upton Stout. I think Upton Stout is solidifying himself as the starting nickel, and his name is perfect for the way he plays, because he is a stout run defender, and he made one of the early plays. I think the second play on the day of team period, Upton was in the box, in between the guards, making a tackle at the line of scrimmage against Isaac Guerrero. So he's showing up as a physical player in the run game. And then he had a phenomenal pass breakup on a pass from Brock Purdy intended for Ricky Pearsall. It was a play where Ricky Ricky was kind of clamped. He didn't get separation, and it was an out towards the right sideline. And so Brock was trying to hit it with timing, and I think the ball placement was solid, but Upton Stout just, again, he made a better play on the ball. He was able to get in front between uh, Ricky Pearsall and the ball, and he made a really nice PBU. So I think it was, again, just a better play by the defensive back. Those are hard throws, timing out routes against the sideline, and when your wide receiver doesn't get separation, you're trying to force it into this hole, and it was just a better play. It was a great route. It was a great rep by Upton Stout against, Ricky Pearsall, former first round draft pick. So I do think that Upton has really started to solidify himself as your slot corner, your nickel cornerback, and he's everything you want in a nickel. He's physical, he is athletic, he is going to show up in the run game, he's going to show up in pass coverage. So far, Stout has been as advertised, and pads came on, and he rose to the occasion from what I had saw. Some other DBs who stood out today, again, I mentioned Pinnock, who created that pass breakup, which turned into an INT. Again, very good pass coverage, got in between the ball, between Kittle and Brock, and popped the ball up, and that turned into an interception. So it was a really good play by Jason Pinnock. You also had another Dallas Flowers. So Dallas Flowers has been showing up. He is a guy that I really wasn't familiar with coming into this training camp, but he's a guy who stood out on multiple occasions. Yesterday, he had one of the best plays by a defender on a PBU, and then today he comes back and has a really nice pass breakup on a pass intended for Equanimous St. Brown. So Dallas Flowers is a guy who's continuing to shine and show up. Another guy who's continuing to shine is Jacob Robinson. He's like a safety corner, like from BYU. He's a UDFA rookie. Jacob Robinson's been making PBUs. Like he had a really nice pass breakup on a ball intended for Russell Gage, and again, it wasn't a bad ball placement. It was just a better play by the DB. He made a great play on the ball. I don't even know who threw it. Robinson's typically been running with the 2s and 3s, so it was probably a Mac Jones pass. Considering the fact that it was to Russell Gage, it was probably Mac Jones, most likely. I'm not sure on that one. But, yeah, I was impressed. And, again, he's made a couple plays now in a row. So I was pretty happy with it. So those were some of the DBs that have stood out. In the absence of Renardo Green, and a reminder, we still haven't talked about Brock Purdy yet, so hold your horses. Thank you for the super chat. I wanted to get to this. What is my way too early take on the draft class hits versus busts and overall class grade? Initially, when the 49ers picked Michael, I wasn't sure. I wasn't thrilled with it because this is my own personal bias. I want speed. I've wanted speed on the edge for a long time, and the 49ers went the opposite of that. They went with power and size, but I see it. Like, I see the vision. I get it. I didn't watch a ton of Michael Williams before the draft, but from what I've seen these last couple days, Michael has won me over 100%. And I see the vision. I see it took me understanding how he was going to be used for me to like really understand the pick, because again, I wanted speed and the 49ers did something else, but I see the vision. I see how it's working out. And yeah, Michael hit. I'm gonna say that's a hit. Who was second? Alfred Collins. Alfred Collins ran out with the starters today. So the first starting group of team period was Michael, Bosa, Givens, and Collins. So the fact that your second round draft pick is already in the starting lineup, I'm going to call that a hit so far. CJ West looks like a hit. Nick Martin, he looks like he's going to be a player. Just again, we have a lot of really young linebackers that are flying around. He hasn't been bad or anything, so I'm not going to call him a bust. I'll call Nick Martin a hit. Upton Stout's going to be a hit. Junior Bergen, I'm not a big fan of Junior Bergen yet. Maybe Bergen will come around. To me, he seems like a practice squad guy, so I'm not super high on Bergen. Watkins looks like he has potential. Watkins is a guy that I think could definitely fit into this team. I don't think he is there yet, but I do think he has potential. Connor Colby, he showed me some stuff today. So I'm actually stock up on Connor Colby right now. Not a ton, but a little bit. So I would say overall right now, the fact that you're looking at two potential defensive line starters, you look at the UDFA class, you look at Nayor, you look at Robinson, that my way too early overall grade on this right now is got to be an A, considering the fact that it looks like, and Jordan James. I completely missed Jordan James. You guys know I'm a fan of Jordan James. Jordan James had a great catch, probably like 20, 25 yards downfield today. I think Jordan James is going to be a player. So I like Jordan James as well. So yeah, I'm a fan of this draft class for sure. I think it's very reminiscent of last year's draft class. Hitting on guys like Bernardo and Dominic Pooney and getting some day one contributors out of the group. Corey Kiner is like our own little muscle hamster. He's tiny, but he just bounces off contact and his feet never stop. So there's a couple. Yeah, this is I think it was a strong rookie class. It's very, very similar to last year's class, just in the sense that I think we're going to get a couple starters out of this rookie group. I think Alfred Collins and Michael Williams and CJ West are going to play a lot of football. I think Upton Stout is going to start at nickel. Bergen has an opportunity to be a returner. Jordan James and Jordan Watkins both have the opportunity to be contributors. So, yeah, I think the rookie class is looking solid. Let's talk about Brock Purdy, shall we? Is it time? pull up a chair, take a seat, get a drink. Let's talk about Brock Purdy. Apparently, there's conflicting evaluations of what Brock Purdy did today. I can't speak to anyone else's evaluation other than mine. You guys know me. I rely on my eyeballs and my eyeballs only when it comes to evaluating football on the field. So if someone has a different opinion than me, that's the beauty of football, baby, is we can all watch the same thing and we can all come away with completely different evaluations. But hey, you guys know me. I'm pretty confident in my ability to evaluate football. So let's get into it, shall we? I would say there was one bad Brock Purdy pass. One. Like, where I was like, ooh, that was ugly. Like, that wasn't a good pass. It was a pass over the middle, intended for Jordan Watkins. It just, either the timing was off, wide receiver was not at the depth Purdy expected him to be at. I don't know. They just weren't on the same page, and it wasn't great. So, but that was really it. That was it. Even, like, again, Brock Purdy threw an interception as well. That was a better play by the defense. He put it in the right spot. Jason Pinnock just stuck his arm right in between George Kittle's hands. It hit Pinnock in the elbow. The ball popped up in the air, and it fell right into D. Winter's lap. Other than that, I thought even some of Brock's incompletions were impressive. I thought his incompletion to Jordan Watkins against the right sideline in bracketed double coverage, Jordan Watkins was completely mugged. There was not an opening. There was an opening about this large, and Brock Purdy put it there. He put it right by the only place where Jordan Watkins could have a chance, and Jordan almost caught it. At least hit him in the hands. It definitely turned out to be an incomplete, probably a pass breakup in the end, but it was a solid incompletion. I'll give him that. I was sitting next to Steph Sanchez, 49K, shout out 49K podcast. I was like, damn, that was a sick incompletion. I was like, there was only one spot to put that ball, and Brock put it there. It didn't count, wasn't a catch, incompletion, but he put it only in the only available window that he could have put it. And that's an incompletion. Let's talk about the completions, though. So I think they just posted it. I just got a notification across the Twitter sphere. One of the cool plays was a George Kittle touchdown, 60-plus yards. I was actually locked in on Michael. So this particular rep, I got the binoculars on. They're on the far side of the field perspective. I have like the all 22 end zone look. So I honestly think I have the best view at training camp. I think based on their new adjustments, when they're on this close field, I think I have the best view out of anyone in training camp. And so I can see everything, and I'm looking at the all 22 angle, and so I can see I'm completely locked in on Michael Williams, and Michael is completely unblocked. And I'm like, oh, unblocked, what is this? And then I see it's a boot, a play action naked boot, and Brock Purdy pops out, and I'm like, oh, this looks like it's going to be a sack. And then I see Michael throw his hands up in the air to block the pass, and somehow Brock Purdy slings this pass around Michael Williams to George Kittle. George Kittle gets it in stride, runs upfield, runs all the way down. Would have been a touchdown. Looked like prime George Kittle. And again, I was like, I don't know how Brock's going to get this one off, but he did. And it turned out to be a really, really big play. So that was the first sick play. Like I mentioned, then Brock had a bad miss to Watkins, and then Brock came back and threw a dime to Ricky Pearsall. I had said to Steph, I'm like, that was the best throw Brock has made all training camp. It was a throw that he somehow fit right by Fred Warner. Like I don't even know how he did it. Fred Warner was in the passing lane. He was right there. Fred even jumped, outstretched his arms, and I wouldn't be surprised if Fred got a finger on it. But it went right past Fred Warner's finger and right into Ricky Pearsall's chest. It was a beautiful throw. And I'm staring right down the pipe so I can see how all the perfect angle of where Fred Warner is, the relation to where Brock Purdy is, the trajectory on the ball, and where it's being fitted. So I can see exactly where the ball is traveling and what it has to get by. And I was like, that throw was crazy. And again, it's just a throw over the middle, but it was a tight window throw right past Brock Purdy. And then I'm like, right when I tell that to Steph, I'm like, damn, that might have been the most impressive throw I've seen from Brock all of training camp. He comes back and he threw another Russell Gage against the right sideline. It wasn't like Russell Gage was wide open. Russell Gage was covered. And Brock threw it up and to the outside. My mic check 1 2. Give me thumbs up in the chat if the mic is back. Give me thumbs up in the chat if the mic. All right, there we go. So Brock throws this pass to Russell Gage, who is covered, and he throws it up outside. Russell Gage, who has been one of the biggest surprises of training camp for me, he goes up and he catches this thing, and I was like, wow, what a catch, what a throw. Brock's cooking, right? So Brock's making plays. Then that's when Upton Stout made the really nice pass breakup on the Brock Purdy pass intended for Ricky Pearsall in the same area of the field. But again, still, Brock just made 3 extremely impressive throws, in my opinion, in that first team period. Then Brock Purdy comes back, completes a pass to Robinson over the middle. Nothing crazy, pretty standard pass from Brock over the middle. Again, Bosa is all over the place. Bosa would have had a sack on a play, but Brock still threw it against the sideline. That was a PBU, so again, it would have been a play that would have been a sack, but your coach to keep the play alive, Brock threw it. Then Brock had the pass deflected by Pinnock that turned into an interception. There was another play where Brock was getting pressured, so he had to sidestep the pocket, throw off his back foot, and then he completed this pass to CMC in the flat. It wasn't a huge gain, but it was a high level of difficulty throw considering he had to move and then throw off balance and throw with touch and throw over some defenders. So wasn't a crazy play, but it was a high level of difficulty play. And then that's when Brock Purdy went on a boot to the right. There was no one open, and then he kind of waited for a second, and then he threw Watkins open away from the defender, and I was really impressed with that because, again, I could see as he was booting to the right, I could see that there was no one open. Everyone was covered up. And then Watkins sat it down, and Brock threw back against the grain, pulled Watkins away from the defender, which allowed Watkins to turn upfield and make a solid play out of what looked to be a play that was covered initially. And that's, to me, what making a play as a quarterback, as a franchise quarterback, looks like. You get out, you roll out, there's no one open. You have to make something happen, and he did. And I thought that was pretty solid. And then he comes back right after that, and you have Nick Bosa as a free rusher, and he spins out of that, rolling to his left, throws it to Kyle Juszczyk, 15, 20 yards downfield against the left sideline, through a dime-size hole, and put it only where Juice could get it. Juice came down with it. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 to 6 plays that were high level of difficulty. So again, people come to me, Brad, I saw Brock went these stats, these completion percentage, he had a bad completion percentage at training camp. I'm like, first of all, I don't care about completion percentage at training camp. To me, it's the most irrelevant stat that you could actually talk about. And I'm not evaluating, like, a lot of the plays that are completed sometimes are sacks. And it's like, what are we doing? Who cares if what the numbers bear out in practice? I don't care. I've now done this for going on 5 seasons. I've never once tracked quarterback completions. I do not care. What I do care about is the context in which they're completed and or incompleted. That's what I care about. I will tell you how the plays weren't completed. I will tell you how the plays were completed. I do not care about what the numbers say, because the numbers are the most irrelevant thing that could ever exist in training camp coverage. What matters is how the plays occurred, what happened on the play, what was the full and true context of the play, and what was the level of difficulty. And that is how you truly contextualize a successful versus unsuccessful play. Like I said, Brock had one throw where I was like, ew, that was a gross throw. But again, I don't know even the true context. Was it a bad timing between him and the wide receiver? He was throwing to a rookie. Was the rookie at the wrong depth? Was the rookie not where he was supposed to be? Was Brock expecting him to be in a certain spot where he wasn't? Because we know Brock throws with anticipation. So even on Brock's most egregious throw, there's still context that I don't even have of to why it was an incomplete pass, other than the fact that it was just not it wasn't a good connection. It was not great. It was like what are we doing on that throw? So overall, based on my observation of training camp, I thought Brock was on fire. I thought today this was Brock's best practice by far. I wasn't really too particularly impressed by the practice that he had the other day, where a lot of people were raving about, because to me the level of difficulty wasn't as high as it was today. I thought that the day where he completed most of his passes, I thought Mac Jones was the better quarterback. I came on here and I told you that. I said Mac Jones was cooking. Mac Jones was making the layered throws. Mac Jones was making the high difficulty throws. And that's how I weight who has the better practice. Not, oh, someone's calling me. I don't grade practice based on who had the best completion percentage. I grade practice on who made the best plays, who had the highest level of difficulty throws or completions. And that's how I've always went through and I've graded training camps, and we've gone through multiple quarterback competitions, and I have seen. Check, check, 1 2. Check, check, 1 2. Can you hear me now? There we go. Beautiful. Basically what I was saying is in all my training camp coverage of the quarterbacks over the years, you have never heard me reference a training camp completion stat that determines whether someone was good or not. To me, that's not how it works, because if I think I go back to the Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, Trey Lance competition. Trey Lance and Sam Darnold were so gun shy. They were literally just checking the ball down. They were literally just trying not to make a mistake. They weren't pushing the ball downfield. That was the difference between them and Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was taking chances, making shot plays. Granted, he wasn't super successful on them, but he was taking shots. He was trying. He was practicing. So at the end of the day, for my opinion, Brock Purdy had a good day today. Much better than any day that he had so far. I thought the juice was there. I thought the way that he played was much better than he's played all camp so far. So I thought he was solid. I also think Mac Jones is solid too. Mac Jones is having a hell of a camp. I think he's going to eventually be a starter again next year, and I think that I'm not driving. I'm still at Levi's. I'm about to drive though. I got to beat this traffic. But today was a good camp, and I wanted to fully cover it. There's a lot going on today. Mac had a really good throw today as well. A couple good throws. So solid, man. I thought today was a good practice. It was good for both sides, offense, defense. Both made plays. I thought it was an iron sharpens iron day, which is exactly what I would want to see from a 49ers practice. If where it was dominated by one side, I would be concerned, because that would mean that one side might not be up to snuff, And the fact that there's a lot of back and forth, to me, is a good sign. And I've been pleasantly surprised with training camp way more than I was last year. Last year was an abomination compared to what we've seen so far. Feels like the juice is back. Feels like the energy's back. Kyle Shanahan looks happier than ever. I don't know what that's about. You know, him and John Lynch and Robert Saleh were in midfield today talking, and Kyle just looks happy and, you know, joking around. I'm just like, all right, cool. We're vibing. The vibes are back, and I'm having a lot of fun out here. I think we're gonna have a chance this year. You know, I'm not gonna crown us just yet, but oh yeah, we're gonna have a chance. We're gonna absolutely have a chance to get back on track. So appreciate everyone as always tapping in for the training camp coverage. Please like this video, share it, sub to the channel, all that good stuff. We'll be back for training camp tomorrow. More pads, more action, more coverage. Appreciate you all. Thank you as always for checking in, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.